Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, but basically YouTube pretty much told me to come back, and it's really been because of the Caitlin Tui videos I did. It feels like 5 to 10 years ago, but I created stuff about 2 years ago and it's somehow blown up, and I was like, okay, I gotta come back to this because there's an audience here, there's a need here, which is pretty cool. And I've been also working on several different channels. You may have seen it in your feed, but I'm slowly getting into the whole market of helping people save money, reduce taxes, and grow money. Pretty much it. All right, I do want to focus on this video because I like the business aspect of track and field, and shout out to Total Running Productions because he really did a good breakdown of what's going on here, and I was impressed because track and field, I believe, needs a lot of eyebrows from different part of our cultural elements of the United States. Long distance and short distance are doing great, and I think we could bring the whole family together to celebrate what our athletes are doing. And as a proud American, I want to say that. Okay, so I'm just going to react to this Sha'Carri Richardson versus Speed video. And if you guys don't know Speed, apparently he's a big social media influencer when it comes to the younger generation. I'm definitely past that age group. But my younger nephews and cousins probably know this guy, but he probably has about a couple million subscribers, and he's very popular, I guess, in the Switch and, excuse me, not Switch, in the Twitch and live streaming aspect of social media. I'm going to react to this video because this is the one where he tries to get Sha'Carri Richardson into a competition. And I like Sha'Carri Richardson's response because it shows me that Sha'Carri Richardson has matured. I mean, she did a complete 360 from the Sha'Carri Richardson we saw back in the day, the wild, the crazy, breaking into tantrums. And all of a sudden, she's just this mature individual. It's almost like a body double switch or some crazy thing. But I'm so proud of Sha'Carri Richardson and her development because that's something that you don't usually happen and see with a lot of ladies, young ladies who have a setback in a career. So for her to get out of that rut, I mean, to me, honestly, is even bigger than Mike Tyson. It's bigger than a lot of these names that have had tragedy in your past. Anyway, let's go ahead and react to this video. I'm going to stop it to give my 6 cents, and hopefully Total Running Productions doesn't mind as well. But let's go ahead and see.
Attention to the sport of athletics, you'll know that things are officially starting to heat up.
And that'll be a new world record!
Two of the best to ever do it, racing each other.
Ends the night with another world record!
In addition to these crazy world records, we're now right on the cusp of a brand new series of races through Michael Johnson's Grand Slam Track League, which will feature 48 of the world's best athletes lacing up against various challengers in a never-before-seen athletics experience. Track and field.
Now, that Michael Johnson's track meet is going to be spectacular. Always a derivative each year, and he brings over the greatest, the best athletes. I think Abby Steiner was in it a couple of years ago, but he has these meets every single year, and I think he's just trying to rebrand it, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it helps the shorter distance people and the sprinters pretty well.
Field is officially back, and in this post-Olympic year that is 2025, we are also seeing new types of competitive showdowns, where track athletes are not only being featured as top-tier celebrities, but they're actually starting to race against them. And while various crossovers of these two worlds have happened in the past, we are officially...
Now, I gotta pause that. I do like seeing sprinters, but I want to really see long-distance people, because I was a long-distance runner. I loved it, but sometimes we don't get the light shown to us as much. But it's, anyway, great to see sprinters there on these advertising magazines. Anyway.
Officially stepping into brand new territory, because over this past weekend at the Super Bowl, two different worlds collided, and it might be one of the more fascinating collabs that sprinting has ever seen.
We got a race! We got a race, Corey!
But you gotta do what I do first before you're
That's not a race!
And I'm sorry, I am playing this in 2x speed. Wow, very embarrassing. Let us do a setback to the beginning.
Attention to the sport of athletics, you will know that things are.
And just to shout out, guys, I listen to podcasts in 2x speed. I'm just so used to it. If it's kind of weird, well, I'm sorry.
Officially starting to heat up.
And that'll be a new world record.
Two of the best to ever do it racing each other.
Ends the night with another world record.
In addition to these crazy world records, we are now right on the cusp of a brand new series of races through Michael Johnson's Grand Slam Track League, which will feature 48 of the world's best athletes lacing up against various challengers in a never-before-seen athletics experience. Track and field is officially back, and in this post-Olympic year that is 2025, we are also seeing new types of competitive showdowns, where track athletes are not only being featured as top-tier celebrities, but they're actually starting to race against them. And while various crossovers of these two worlds have happened in the past, we are officially stepping into brand new territory.
Now, if you guys have not checked out Mr. Beast YouTube channel, Mr. Beast is a very popular creator. He actually featured an episode where sprinter Noah Lyles was running with an average Joe. And that average Joe, I think he had a 50 meter to 100 meter head start in the 400 meters. And it was a competition where if this average Joe were to win the race, I think Mr. Beast was planning to give him between $50,000 to $100,000. Well, guess who ended up winning? Noah Lyles caught up to him in the last 100 meters of that 400 race. So I thought that was interesting. So I think this is one of the hints that Total Running Productions is trying to at least get audience a sense of what's coming in the future, because we're going to see a clash between our professional track athletes and, I guess, the average Joe. But I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Speed here, because folks have seen him race against Noah Lyles, and it was kind of close, but kind of not. He doesn't really have an athletic career, so I just did some research over on ChatGPT, which I pretty much told you guys to get into 2 years ago. If you looked at my breakdown between Caitlin Tui and her performance that had been getting better each year. But anyway, Speed, whose name is Darren Watkins, he attended high school. I think he did a little bit of college, but ended up dropping out to focus more on social media. He's pretty much an average high school athlete. I think sometimes he broke a speed in the 40-meter dash or 60. Wait, is it? Yeah, the 40-meter dash, and he ran a 4.5, which is pretty good for a solid high school athlete. At least you could get it down to 11 seconds and 100 meters, but 4.5 is not like, oh my goodness, wow. To me, 4.5 in high school 40-meter dash is average. But anyway, so that's his background. He's pretty much an average athlete. But again, social media presence is what it is. It's just a business of sports that we need to bring those eyeballs in. Okay, let's go ahead, continue playing.
Because over this past weekend at the Super Bowl, two different worlds collided, and it might be one of the more fascinating collabs that sprinting has ever seen.
We got a race. We got a race, Sha'Carri.
But you gotta do what I do first before we race.
That's not a race.
I gotta teach you how to be a sprinter first.
Why are you ducking though? Why can't we just race?
What is Sha'Carri Richardson doing right here? She's telling Speed she wants him to be a sprinter first. Sha'Carri is smart, and this is where I look at it from a business perspective. Sha'Carri knows that this dude, I apologize, guys. I don't mean to read into it, but all I'm saying, if I was in Sha'Carri Richardson's shoes, because I know Speed has a big social media influencing, that is the response that I would say. I would tell him, hey, get into training with me. Why? As a business, that way I can get your audience to follow my career and trajectory. This is not a one-time thing. With Noah Lyles, that race between him and Speed, probably a few months ago, I can't remember, but that was it. This one race, it blew up to be about a few million views, but Richardson is kind of looking at it as a business, to my perspective, saying, let me get this guy into the circuit so that he could train with me for the next few months. And what does that mean? More eyeballs for Richardson. So pretty smart how Richardson played it off. But I have to go back to the physique. Look at the physiques of these athletes. This is where I want you guys to be. And this is not me just running an average YouTube channel. I always want to go into use this part of your passion in track and field to get better, to get faster. Go to the gym more. These athletes are what we used to be when we were your age, but there's no reason for us to slow down in life. Sha'Carri Richardson, great shape. Speed, great shape. But no matter what age you are in, you could always be in the greatest optimal shape. Even if you're in a wheelchair, I have a good subscriber who's been following me for years, but his attitude is just so exceptional compared to anyone that I've seen. So when you watch these videos and you love track and field, always encourage yourself, like, how can I get and be in the best shape as possible? Anyway.
I gotta teach you how to be a sprinter first.
Why you ducking though? Why can't we just race?
Back in November of 2024, the streamer ISHOWSPEED took to the track in Claremont, Florida to race against the world's fastest man, Noah Lyles. Now, this was a highly anticipated matchup that grew in excitement as Speed made the 3-hour trip from Miami to Claremont. But it was also no surprise that Noah Lyles did in fact come out on top of this race, as he was not only the 2024 Olympic champion, but he has one of the fastest times in history in the 60 and in the 100 meters. This victory was certainly expected from Noah over Speed in pretty much any racing distance.
I'm going to stop this because let's look closely to that finish line. Look how close of a distance between Speed and Noah Lyles. And Speed to me is like an average athlete.
Certainly expected.
Look at that.
From Noah.
Look at that, how close it is. But again, Noah wasn't running in full speed here. So it was kind of impressive, though Noah pretty much jogged. Speed was still able to catch up. Anyway, let me go back to 1x normal speed on here.
Pretty much any racing distance. However, to the surprise of many watching, Speed ran quite quickly here, and he really did put forth a solid effort, especially given the competition.
Let's go back to his form. Speed, decent form for a average athlete. Not really spectacular again, but average. Let me turn down this volume bit, and so you guys could see. Speed is obviously the guy in white, but decent form, not bad. Good kicks. All right. Let me put this volume back up.
This 50-meter dash exhibition race was a super unique moment in sprinting, as no other competition like this had ever happened before this day. However, at this year's Super Bowl, we saw an even more unique collaboration begin, because as ISHOWSPEED was just finishing up his celebrity football game, he ran into none other than the 2023 world champion, Sha'Carri Richardson. Now, in this back and forth, there was a lot to unpack.
Shout out to the girls on here. Let me go over a bit. Oh, man. Tamari Davis was on that clip, too. And my goodness, guys, don't hate me on this, but if you know that runner to the right of you, put it in the comments section. But she's over 40, and she's still killing it. And that's why I'm here to also motivate you guys. Get up, run. Don't just watch our favorite athletes on YouTube. Be active and always be positive out there. If you have a business, I want you guys to have a successful business, but use this as motivation and fuel because I know a lot of you love track and field. Anyway, let me go back to putting this in 1x speed.
A lot to unpack. Speed immediately wanted to race Sha'Carri on site. When they ran into each other, Sha'Carri was a lot more careful about her approach, even inviting Speed to her training camp in Florida. And we also have to address the fact that none other than Christian Coleman was carefully mediating this back and forth, as he not only knows a thing or...
Now let's go back to this clip. Christian Coleman is the guy in the middle. Very fast 100-meter runner. I think he's even made gold twice in his career, which is pretty good. I don't know if Speed noticed that Coleman was right there. But again, opportunities came up, and as how Total Running Productions mentioned, Sha'Carri Richardson said, hey, come over to my training camp. So, and don't get me wrong, Sha'Carri Richardson, to a lot of men out there, she might be pretty attractive. So I'm like, she's saying, hey, dude, come hang with me. So I'm like, you know, I see Speed taking the offer. Say, okay, I'm gonna see where this goes, type of thing.
None other than Christian Coleman was carefully mediating this back and forth, as he not only knows a thing or two about sprinting, but he's actually the 60-meter world record holder at 6.34 seconds. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure that Speed knew this, because if he did, he would probably praise Coleman as one of the greatest to ever do it. Now, immediately, the idea of these two racing each other hit me as a very intriguing competition. Sha'Carri was the 2023 world champion, she was the silver medalist from the Paris Olympics in the 100, and she's also the 5th fastest woman of all time over this racing distance. Sha'Carri is fast, like historically fast.
But I want to also say that Sha'Carri is not just a sprinter now. She's evolved to a businesswoman. And I have that pause on purpose because just the way she's done a 360, she's milking this media for as much attention as possible because at the end of the day, guys, your legs will wear out, but your business mind will always be there for 100 years, even till you pass away. So again, she's long-term here. I'm very impressed. Let's go ahead and play this.
And when it comes to top speeds achieved, she reaches one of the quickest speeds of all time, as she has been clocked just over 24 miles per hour. And this happened not only back in 2021, but in the 2023 World Finals. Clearly, Sha'Carri shines the brightest when it comes to the 100-meter distance. And while she might have the edge over Speed in the 100, Speed is looking to race over the 60. Now, given Speed's impressive starting abilities, I think he might have an edge over Sha'Carri in this racing distance. I mean, he even kept up with Noah for a few strides when they raced over the 50 meters back in November. But this might not actually be true, because one very impactful statistic might prove that Sha'Carri has an even better chance than many think. And in order to see this, we need to go back to the World Finals. For these World Championships in Budapest, Sha'Carri achieved her fastest 100 time ever at 10.65 seconds. This race was honestly amazing. She ran all the way out in lane 9. She barely made...
Okay, I remember this event. There's the World Championship and there was the Olympics. And I apologize, guys. I did not really keep up with the Olympics. But I do know that in Budapest, there was about 3 heats. And people were like thinking that over the past 2 heats, she was kind of tired, wore none. But all of a sudden, in the last final heat, to everyone's amazement, she came in first place, beating Shelley and the other lady to the right. And I'm apologize, guys. It's been a long time here. But yeah, she killed that competition. Olympics, I think she did pretty good last year. I had too much stuff going on, so I'm sorry.
Made it into the finals, but then she threw down one of the greatest races of her career so far. This 10.65 has only ever been eclipsed by some of the greatest sprinters to ever grace the track on the women's side. But during this 100, she made...
That third lady, or that second lady she defeated was Elaine Thompson Hera. No, not Elaine Thompson. Sharika Jackson in the Budapest 2023 World Championships. Correction. Elaine Thompson-Herah, I'm not sure where she's at right now, but if we look at this figure, Flojo, 10:49, pretty fast. Elaine Thompson, 10:54. Shelly-Ann Fraser, 10:60. I believe Shelly has retired. Jeter, 10:64. And Sharika Jackson, 10:65 at this particular junction in time.
Managed to split through 60 meters in approximately 6.94 seconds, which is significantly faster than her official listed 60-meter PB of 7.2. However, this does go all the way back to 2019, and she just doesn't race indoors anymore, so she's clearly gotten much faster since this 7.2 6 years ago. Now, if we look at what we should expect from Sha'Carri based on her 100 times and her recent splits, we're probably looking at a time right around 7.05 up to 7.10, which is very impressive, but she might even have the ability to go closer to 7.05
to 7.10, at least in indoor, will put you at top 2 for women's track and field. Very competitive speed. There was one young lady who was top indoor performer for the past few years. She didn't quite make it to Budapest or the Olympics, but she's always a great American indoor runner.
0.0. It all depends on how she performs on the day. But what exactly would Speed run if he were to race Sha'Carri over the 60? Now, this is where things get kind of complicated because there are various prediction models for Speed's 60 time online. And one of the more important factors to this estimation comes from a 40-yard dash where he apparently ran a time of 4.44.
Again, 4.44. For high school, it's fast, but if you are a football and receiver or some type of skilled position, a 4.5 is average. It's great, but it's not like super collegiate level. Like 4.5 is a good, great high school achievement, but I'd say if Speed was to race Sha'Carri in the 60, I'd give Speed maybe 8 seconds, and that's just me being nice. But let's go ahead and see what Total Running Productions analysis is like.
Now, many have found this race extremely impressive, as he clearly wasn't dressed for a 40-yard PB. In fact, he was even wearing Crocs for this race. But the problem here is that this time is just completely unreliable. Running these kinds of exhibition 40-yard dashes are quite entertaining, but the tools and machines that are used in these kind of environments have no real basis when looking at exact performances.
I'd estimate that Speed was probably running like a 5 seconds on this 40-meter dash. Again, Total Running Productions is right. When you have these gimmick type of things, the time might be off by like 100th or 10th of a second type of thing, and it's just for attention, but it's not really like official track and field pro timers that we're looking at here, or at least that's the perception that I'm looking at. But let's go ahead and play it.
For international track and field races, starters have a gun relayed through an electronic timing machine, and for an athlete's exact time, it takes into account their starting reaction. It often includes splits through each 10-meter interval. And then there's this very often standardized finishing picture, which can capture an athlete's finish, not just down to the 100th, but even down to the 1000th. To really get a precise finishing result, you need some heavy hardware on site that can connect from the starting gun all the way to the finish 100 meters down the track. And the same thing applies for the 60-meter dash as well. And the problem with this kind of sprint is that the result can vary by close to half of a second on either side of an athlete's true time. Sadly, there is no exact finishing result that is truly precise from Speed's recent racing. But when he did race Noah back in November, many people had the ability to time this 50-meter run, and it was estimated that he ran somewhere around 5.9 seconds, give or take about a tenth. And if this is in fact to be trusted, then he would be expected to run right around 7 to 7.1 seconds for a 60-meter.
Now, I give Mr. Beast credit because Mr. Beast tries his best to make anything he does in quality. So I'd give him the consideration that he took timing into consideration and he made sure that the experts were there to record it and also make sure the precision was at most accurate to what's coming out. So when it comes to credibility of Mr. Beast's timing, I would give more confidence and credence towards that because I know he spends a lot of time when dealing with quality, people, products, and interactions.
Clocking. This would mean that Sha'Carri versus Speed would actually be incredibly close if they were to race on the day.
And this will be the greatest social media athletic thing to date, or at least this year if this happened. I know Speed was doing some type of WWE wrestling intro with Rumble or whatever. Yeah, that was great. But for our audience in track and field, oh, this is going to grow and blow up pretty good. So I can't wait to see this meeting.
And if we do in fact make this race happen, can we please get official starting blocks registered to electronic timing, and we also need to get down to the thousandth of a second. These kind of resources are available all over the world. So if we do get these two together, we need to make this happen. These sprinting celebrity crossovers are very, very intriguing, and I believe it's a part of the next step.
Now, Total Running Productions thinks that Speed can come out at 7 seconds. I doubt it. I'd give Speed in a 60-meter dash maybe 8 seconds, especially if we're looking at Olympic electronic times or testing or timers of that nature.
To bringing track and field to a bigger audience. And with all of this in mind, leave your thoughts down below on who you think would win in the 60-meter dash. Do you have Speed or do you have Sha'Carri Richardson? Thanks for watching, everyone.
It's not even close. I'll have Sha'Carri Richardson, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think Sha'Carri Richardson is going to come on top or Speed? Definitely interesting take by Total Running Productions. And again, I want to focus on the business aspect. I think Sha'Carri Richardson has more than a $10 million net worth right now. And she's thinking the way of how I would approach this as a business when I'm dealing with a big social media influencer. Again, she's invited him to her practice squad circuit, which not a lot of people can get access to that. But if you really think of it from a business perspective, these social media influencers are out there creating entertainment, are out there creating noise, and this is a attention economy. So if Sha'Carri Richardson was to melt this dude for like a month or two at her training facility, and this guy is constantly there just taking footage of him preparing and getting better, as well as Sha'Carri Richardson, think how big of an audience, of opportunity and eyeballs it brings to the overall sport. And at the end of the day, it creates more interactions for Sha'Carri Richardson and builds up her subscribers and fans. I think she's more than 1 million subscribers on Instagram. She has an active Twitter account. I don't really keep up with Twitter as much, but she was there posting updates on her performance, on her track and field events and so forth. But we'll see how it plays. But for right now, Sha'Carri Richardson is in a unstoppable fire of performance and athleticism. And I always want to leave you guys with a lot of spirit, a lot of enthusiasm, but a lot of motivation to work hard, to do the best you can do at your current state, and don't give up, because track and field is so much fun. Always use what you're watching to your motivation on how you could be a better person each day, whether it's waking up at the gym, being a great or better spouse, or running your own business successfully. Have a great day. Bye.